there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, this is David Sanchez from Havok, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome back Mr. David Sanchez, lead vocalist and guitarist of Havok. Havok will release their new 5th full-length studio album, 5, which is the Roman numeral V, on May 1st via Century Media Records. And we welcome David back to the show. So, how you doing, man? And welcome back, and glad to have a new album out.
Yeah, thanks. Stoked for the album to be out. We were supposed to be touring the day that it dropped, but obviously that's not happening. But hopefully people are bored at home and we'll have time to check it out.
Yeah, this coronavirus has actually put a damper on a lot of things, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But how's it been working the Century Media Record so far for you guys still on this?
So far, so good. The best part is, we get to do what we want to do musically.
You added a new bassist, Brandon Bruce, to the band, and it's his first recording with Havok. What has he added to the band that may have been missing, if anything, possibly? Nothing been missing, but what has he added to the band?
Well, he's a really creative guy, and he plays a lot of different instruments, so his he's got a lot of different ideas when it comes to all kinds of different things. So I think he added a lot to song structures, bass lines, obviously, and even like vocal patterns and arrangements and stuff. He had some opinions on things that helped shape the way the songs turned out.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making this new album, 5, if anything? I know that it changes from time to time from each album to album, but what impressed you the most about this one?
I think the diversity of the songs. I think there's a lot of different musical ideas and sounds and flavors going on this record. I think if you jump around the record randomly, you're not going to hear stuff that all sounds the same.
So did this kind of push you guys out of the comfort zone of what you normally would put on an album, possibly?
Yeah, in some ways. None of it was super uncomfortable. We weren't trying to completely, change our sound, but there's some curveballs.
How long did it take to write and complete this album, David?
Let's see. It was written, a lot of the riffs were written years ago. Some of the riffs are almost a decade old.
Oh, wow.
But, those were just sitting in our riff pile, as we call it. But as far as actually starting to get songs put together and arranged, that all happened from I think late January until late June. So really 5 months to write it. And then we tracked it in between July and I think August. I think maybe July to August or early September. So it took 6 weeks, I think, to track it.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the new album? I know it must change every time you listen to it or every time you talk about it. I know these are your babies. But do you have any that stand out personally for you?
Personal favorites. I really like everything, every song I really like. But I would say personal favorites, probably Fear Campaign, Cosmetic Surgery, and there's another one that I think will probably still be playing a lot live in the future. Betrayed by Technology, I would imagine, will probably still be something we play live in the future.
So are there any tracks that didn't make this album that we could see on an EP or another album down the road, possibly?
we've got some ideas that didn't get completely finished into like full pieces, full arrangements and songs. So there's chunks of music that will probably get turned into something in the future, but there were no like entire completed songs that got scrapped.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs? Which one would be the first single you wanted to release for this album, or no?
Yes, it's always hard to choose singles because it's tricky because it's going to be the first impression that your new album gets to make on people, and typically singles are the things that bands wind up playing possibly forever in their set. So you've got to be careful about those. Yeah, and Phantom Force is the first song we released, and that's another favorite of mine too, actually. That I could see being a set staple for a long time.
So here's a crazy question. I know you got 5 albums out now. Are there any songs that you would like to implement into your set list at some point that's not been in the set list before, possibly?
Yeah, someday I would love to play the song Dogmaniacal from Conformicide live. And at some point I would really like to take a lot of the really cool parts from songs on our first record, Burn, and make some sort of a medley, like maybe like a 7-minute medley where we just play all the really cool sections from songs on the first record. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. A lot of bands don't do that, and I think they should, or at least implement something like that into an album or a live show.
Yeah,
or something.
Live is good for that because, I mean, maybe you don't want to play the whole song, but maybe there's one part of that song that's super cool, and you can work it in somewhere.
The album was engineered, mixed, mastered by Mark Lewis, who's worked with Cannibal Corpse, The Black Dahlia Murder, etc. How was working with him on this?
Working with Mark was cool. It was nice to have an outside ear to tell us which version of our ideas were better. That's always really helpful. And he was down to do a lot of experimenting with tones and like really take the time to refine the sounds that are on the record. So the sounds that you hear on the record took us a lot of experimentation and a lot of tweaking and time to get things sounding the way they do. So hopefully stuff sounds good.
I still like your stuff, man.
I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I think bands...
I think it sounds really good.
Never be scared to go outside that box. That's what I've always said. That day comes when you're scared to go outside that box, and you never know what's going to be new for the band, possibly. It could take you to another level. Yeah,
for sure. Sometimes we just don't have... and, I mean, we is like just everyone that does things creatively is sometimes you just don't have the time to... stretch the box out further, but luckily we did, and Mark was totally on board with doing that. So that was really cool.
I hope I pronounce this guy's first name right because every time I have it on here, I screwed up somehow, some way. But Elron Cantor, who's worked with Testament, Hatebreed, did the artwork for this album as well. He did an awesome knockout job for the New Testament album. How was working with him on this, David?
It was cool. I sent him over a pretty detailed concept for the artwork and basically told him, like, hey, we want it to look like Caravaggio meets Salvador Dali. And what he sent back just blew us away. And we really, really love how the album cover turned out. He's a killer artist.
He's done some phenomenal work. Yeah, it's like I mentioned just a minute ago, the New Testament album is great. The artwork on it, I've got it right here in my hand right now. Nuclear Blast sent this to me today, which is pretty cool. It's a great album as well. So do you see this band still musically growing from 2009's debut album Burn up till now, man? Do you see it musically getting strictly just your sound, if that makes sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think we sound more like us every time we put out a record. And musically, I think stuff keeps evolving for sure. Like on this record, I would say, so much of the time, the two guitars and the bass are not playing the same thing. We're starting to utilize the fact that we have two guitars and a bass, like 3-stringed instruments. We're utilizing that way, way more today than ever in the past. And a lot of like thrash metal bands, the bass just kind of follows the guitar, and we don't really do that very much. And I think that musically our outside influences, our non-metal musical influences, I think are sneaking into our music more and more often, but I think that's what makes our band sound like our band.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope to hear while listening to any of Havok's music in general, David? What do you hope to get from it, man?
Well, I hope that people enjoy the music and it makes their face scrunch up like they just smelled something really bad. And I hope that the lyrics will wake people up a little bit and maybe make people think. I guess the goal with a lot of the lyrics is to try to invite people to think for themselves and kind of wake up a little bit and snap out of their television stupor.
Yeah, and I've said this before with you on the show previously, man. I think your guys' music is a fresh breath of air for metal, and I like what you guys are bringing to that table for music, man. So that's my opinion, and I hope everybody goes and checks it out, because if you haven't checked it out, then you're surely sleeping under a rock on this band. And I'm not just saying that because David's on here, but this guy's honest truth. This band deserves more credit than what they've gotten.
Well, thanks a lot for the kind words. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we're still fairly underground. We're getting more known every year. Things get better for us, but yeah, we're still fairly undiscovered by many. And I think a lot of people that are into metal would like our band. They just don't know that we exist.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So thanks for helping to get the word out.
Not a problem. What can fans expect at a show from Havok who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get when they come to see you all live, David?
That's a great question. I wish I could tell you all the tours that we've had planned, we had canceled. So I don't know when we're going to get out again. Hopefully we can get out in the fall, but that's all kind of in the air right now. Worst case scenario, I think next year sounds very likely.
I just saw where Aftershocks said they had sold out the festival in California, and I think Sacramento, yeah, somewhere out there. And I was thinking, well, didn't the governor of California say that no things or events is going to happen to 2021? So why is this sold out if they're not going to have it? He's not going to allow it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But
yeah, I feel real bad obviously all bands are getting screwed, but like the whole entertainment industry is going to feel this so hard. But I feel really bad for festival organizers, people that throw like a festival one time a year and that's their whole job. Like some of these festival organizers, their entire year's worth of money is made from that one festival. And now that's been taken away from them. So we may see some of these big festivals just disappear and not ever happen again, which is devastating for the music scene.
I have thought the same thing, man. I honestly, that's been in the back of my mind, like how many is going to survive from this, especially these festivals and stuff. And,
certainly not all of them.
Right. Since almost everyone is in quarantine from the coronavirus, do you think concerts and festivals will have the same impact as before with sales, or do you think this may hurt in the long run after all this is over, man? Do you see it coming back full force possibly?
That's really hard to say. I think at some point it will be back to full force, and like people spend the same amount of money and time invested in the arts and music and entertainment. But I think entertainment is going to be the last thing to bounce back, because entertainment is a luxury item, and it's going to be hard to convince people to go out to concerts and spend money on tickets and then buy T-shirts and stuff like that when they're having a hard time paying rent and putting dinner on the table.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Havok gets support from that you can see over the years? Man, is there one place possibly that stands out to you? Be like, man, I can't believe we reached out to there. Yeah,
we actually we played in Beijing, China once, and there was a lot of people there. And I guess it was just kind of surprising because a lot of our lyrics and stuff seem like something that would not be available to people to listen to in China.
But they will sing your lyrics back to you word for word.
Yeah, it was really cool. That was a pretty trippy experience to go to Beijing and play music and be singing songs like Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer. Folks, you want to get out and pick up Havok's 5th full-length album, 5, which is Roman numeral V, of course. You all should know that by now. It's out May 1st via Century Media Records, and you definitely get out and pick this up. So, David, how can folks stay in touch with you guys and buy some merchandise, tour dates when this all gets back to normalcy? How can they do that, my man?
Well, you can go to havokband.com to find links to all of our stuff, tour dates, find links to order the record, find all the different pre-order options. And if people are going to look for our band, just make sure it's spelled with a K, people. Havok.
Yeah, not
Havokband.com has links to our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So Havokband.com is the place to go, and then you can branch out from there.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Yeah, no problem. Hey, this is David Sanchez from Havok, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link plus our YouTube link, all of our stuff that we're on. We're all over the place, folks. That's what I'm trying to say. We're everywhere. So get out and check us out and also follow us and subscribe to us. Also check out Havok. Pick up their new album, 5. You will not be disappointed. And also, please check out their old stuff. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. You will love this band. So, David, as always, man, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and I hope you guys get out there even more, my friend.
Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.